good to see you again. Welcome back to our 2025 Marion Lindblad-Goldberg Award nominees. Today, we're with TM Smith. Hi, TM.
Hello.
And he has been nominated as a supervisor, and he is one of the clinical supervisors at Creative Health. We have Amber with us today, who's the program director. Hi, Amber.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for having
And
me.
we also have Sabrina Valente, the trainer for the Westchester cohort.
Hello.
Hey, Sabrina.
Thanks for inviting me.
Good to have you here. So we're going to jump in and get started. So Amber, I'm going to come to you first.
Okay.
Wanted to find out from you, why are you not surprised that TM was nominated for this award?
I am not in the least bit surprised that TM was nominated because I have personally gotten to witness his use of candor and transparency in the work that he brings to family-based. And I myself have been able to witness him from the time that he was an intern and a clinician all the way now to a clinical supervisor. And one of the things that I think that TM does really well is he utilizes his systemic lens with other service systems who may not use the same lens that we use. And he does that in a really beautiful way because he helps those systems to see families the way that we do.
Wow. So, I mean, you're already starting to talk about it. What do you appreciate about TM's leadership?
So one of the things that TM talks a lot about is his growth edge. And one of the growth edges that he's been, again, really transparent about is his endeavor to do with rather than for the people that he supervises, but really everybody around him. And this, he will admit to you, has not always been easy for him, but he confronts that using his own social ecology, but also the signature themes that he has to want to jump in and save. So he really suspends that. And he's been so dedicated to that effort that he's able to highlight the competency in the people around him, not just to the supervisees that TM directly supervises, but our entire group. He's the first person to raise his hand and remind someone of their strengths. And I can't think of a better person that embodies the strength-based tenets of ESFT for that reason. So that's really how I see his leadership show up in our program.
Wow. So, when we think about this award and Dr. Lindblad-Goldberg, one of the things she did was, she went against the grain. Ways that she approached families, the way she focused her treatment. And so what have you seen TM do in the face of adversity to go against the grain?
So I would say that another thing that TM talks a lot about is how we commune with trauma and tragedy. And he does that by using the language of ESFT. He said in a staff meeting recently that he really is partnered with ESFT. And this could not be closer to the truth for TM because he will not only partner with the ESFT, but he makes the covert that often shows up in people's social location really overt. And he uses that language so much that the people that he supervises will repeat that language back to him. And he is also the first person when we're communing right at the edge of chaos to remind everybody that we need to slow down so that we can see and understand before we respond. And when that shows up in times of adversity, I really see him turn to others to work together so that when they're responding, he can help his clinicians to help the parents, to help the child.
So how has his dedication to his growth impacted your own growth?
Well, I would say that by TM being willing to go first with others and slow down and be human first, TM was one of the first people in my leadership position at Creative Health to remind me that my humanity was the best asset that I had. And although I had been told that before, he said that in such a genuine way that I often hear his voice in my head saying, "Hey, Amber, what are the human parts of you that really need to show up right now to meet with these folks?" And I've always had good outcomes when I do that.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you were able to share that with us.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you, TM. Awesome work.
Thank you. You've been a major part of it. So I can't take too much credit there.
You deserve all the credit in the world.
So let's transition to Sabrina. Why is it that you nominated TM?
I think for me, TM embodies the eco part of ecosystemic. What I notice most about TM, two things really. One of the things that I notice most is his willingness to engage with his ecosystem and to make sure that he pulls others into the ecosystem. He's like the first one when we have a new supervisor who joins our group to connect with them at a really human level, not at a supervisor level, but hey, how are you doing? TM does a really good job of like slowing down and checking in and joining and being like, what's really happening for you in this moment? And I think TM embodies building the alliance and building the ecosystem, and is an integral part of making the new supervisors in the Westchester group feel so welcomed so quickly. The other thing that really stood out for me and why I nominated him was his commitment to his own growth and development. There's not a moment that TM is not thinking about how his growth edge is being impacted or how his signature theme is showing up or woking his own growth edge in some way. And he's really transparent with that. And I also think that's really emblematic of what the Marion Lindblad-Goldberg Award is all about.
So how has his dedication to his growth impacted your own growth?
TM makes me a better trainer because TM slows down the process. I know that if I am off track at some point in the training or don't know what to do or having a moment, sometimes all I need is to just look at TM, and what TM reminds me of is to go back to the person of the therapist, like what's happening in people in that moment. TM's commitment to his own growth, commitment to transparency with his own growth, has challenged me to be more transparent with my growth and development and what I am working on. He frequently calls me out in supervisor sessions and asks me what I am working on today, in a way that has really allowed me to embrace transparency in a different way. And that has been really, really meaningful to me to be able to say, I am here with you in this, learning and growing along with you, because I feel like I'm not doing it alone.
Yeah, so you've already started to speak to what you see him do. Is there a moment or a story or something where you've seen him face adversity that, comes up for you or, speaks to you about TM and this nomination?
I don't know that I have a specific moment or story. It's just more my overall impression and impact of him. It's his willingness to show up and to be brave and to be vulnerable. TM was one of the first people who started talking about signature themes. I remember way back when TM, you presented as a clinician, and if I recall, you were with Adam at the time. Is that correct?
Yeah, first time was with Adam. Yep.
I'm going to be honest, I don't remember much about the presentation itself. I do remember you talking about your signature theme, and me as a brand new trainer going, oh, here's someone who's really brave and really vulnerable and really willing to own the way that their stuff shows up in therapy and wanting to do something with that. And so I think for me, it's just overall, I've watched him carry this throughout the years that I've known him and be so brave around it.
That's great. Well, TM, I'm going to come to you now. So TM, what does it mean to you to be recognized as having the same passion and commitment as Dr. Marion Lindblad-Goldberg?
What it means for me is that I'm leaning into the notion that it's no one person's responsibility. It's all of our responsibility and on all of us. to grow, to heal, to help, to serve. And when I watched the video about how Marion started off family-based, I had known some of the story, but I didn't know all the details. And it really struck me how similar it was to how I've always approached helping people, sort of the all hands on deck, let's do what it takes, and we'll figure it out later. The rest will fall into place. So it's an honor, and it feels like something that I've always aimed to be. I remember, and it's weird because I'm at this place in my life right now. I remember there was one instance where someone asked, like, if you had one wish in the world, what would it be? And it was to be someone who my future kids could be proud of. And so it's something that I feel very passionate about, that I can be in even the same conversation as Marion and folks who are in that relational space. So it's an honor, honestly.
So, this work is not easy. So, what sustains you and inspires you for this work?
There's a lot of different things. I think, outside of like my own personal self-care stuff, there's a ton of spirit that I have behind it. I'm a man of faith, and so that, I think, sustains me. My family sustains me. Just my history and what my genogram looks like, how folks have lived, survived, sustained. And I remember in grad school, after having done my genogram and realizing I just wanted the buck to stop with me. I've heard this phrase, and it's always resonated with me. Generational trauma ran in my family till it ran into me. And so this is something that I've always held close to my heart and soul. And it's what helps me come back to work every day when I'm sad, when I'm low, or when I'm dejected. Like, I can't do it anymore. I'm a little too stressed out. I'm a little too anxious. That's what keeps me coming back to the well and saying, I could still do this. And it doesn't have to be perfect today.
Hmm. So in facing these challenges that, have inspired you, how do they also help you, grow and keep moving forward and being committed to that?
Well, as a clinician, a supervisor, as someone who thinks systemically, my personal life as well as my professional life, there's been challenges, adversity, and opportunities to grow. And every time that I've leaned into them and realized that I can't be responsible for everything, I can be responsible to. That both liberates me from the responsibility for an outcome, but it also enables me to have a responsibility to the process. And that's what's kept me positive, optimistic, and I think it's made me wiser and broaden my viewpoint of the world, that I can still do things. I can be an agent of change, and that does not mean that I'm solely responsible to be an agent of change. And so that E in ESFT, I think, comes out there is when I'm like, okay, I can do this, and I can't be responsible for it all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, TM, it's just been lovely having this time with you. Sabrina and Amber, can you join me in saying congratulations to TM on 3? 1, 2, 3. Congratulations, TM. So it's just lovely to share this space with all of you, and TM, well deserved. And I'm so glad you all tuned in to share and hear about TM, and make sure that you subscribe to our newsletter and check out that blog so you can read more about TM's nomination and his write-up. And we'll see you all next time. Bye.